Okay.
This is for him.
All right, welcome to the FYE 2024 R.T.M. Annual Budget Meeting. Today is Monday, May 1st, 2023, and it is 7:06 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Okay, so Representative Adams. Here. Representative Amboise.
Here.
Representative Bailey.
Here.
Representative Burrell.
Here.
Representative Brennan. Thought I saw him. No? Okay. Representative Bright.
Here.
Representative Casper.
Here.
Representative Surf.
Here.
Representative Chase.
Here.
Representative Kopp.
Here.
Crockett Hubbard, not here. Representative Dean Shinbrot.
Here.
Representative Eben.
Here.
Representative Frickman. Representative Fritchie.
Here.
Frickman's online.
Okay.
Brickman's here, sorry.
Okay, sorry about that, Representative Frickman. Representative Gardner.
Here.
Representative Gothier.
Here.
Representative Gibbs.
Here.
Representative Gustafson. He's traveling. He may jump in later. Representative Hainline. Representative Hanscom.
Here.
Representative Ivy.
Miss Kaden.
Hmm?
Miss Kaden.
Yep, I'm there next. She's here. Representative Caden.
Here. Right there.
18. Representative Massett.
Here.
19. Representative McElroy.
Here.
20. Representative Merritt.
Here.
21. Representative Norman.
Not here.
Representative Aubry.
Here.
Representative Sheila Perry. Nope. Kristen Powers.
Here.
Representative Sean Powers.
Here.
Representative Pacino. Representative Scott.
Here.
Representative Semeraro. 26. Representative Thomas.
Here.
Representative V.C. Williams. Representative Watson.
I'm here.
Thank you. Representative Weaver. Representative Wells.
Here.
Representative Whitney.
Here.
And Rusk is 31.
We could all stand for a moment of silence, please. Representative Chase, would you lead us in the salute to the flag, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have the town manager's FYE 2024 budget update.
Good evening.
Yep, there you go.
Good evening. There it goes. Hello, everyone. Just a very quick update. Everyone in the R.T.M. has all this information, but more for the public's sake, a very brief update. The current FYE 2023 budget, the existing budget amount is $143,398,970, and we have a mill rate of 21.28. My proposed budget had $149,398,180. That would have been a 0.96 mill increase to 22.24, or a 4.5% increase. And that did use 4.5 million in fund balance, which would have left us, if we use that, around 20%. The town council, through their process, first, go to the next page first. They made a series of changes. They cut about $625,000 in CIPs. The command vehicle for the police was cut in half from 250 to 125. These other items were cut to zero. Noank Park from 125,000. Town Hall Complex, 150,000. That was at a staff suggestion, just so you know. Economic Assistance Fund cut from 50 to 0. Open space acquisition fund cut from 25 to 0, and downtown Mystic parking cut from 150,000 to 0. And the town council increased the department budgets by 212,960, departments and some outside agencies. 21,000 extra to public safety for 6 digital police signs. Executive management, my department, for 30,000 for a recently approved part-time position. Parks and Rec, 55,150 for a new maintainer position. Fire district pilot by 31,210 for Pequannock Bridge Fire Department, and human resources by 75,600 for a new HR generalist position. So the net impact between those two, between what was cut and added, is 412,040. So the town council adopted their budget last week at $148,986,140. They set their tentative mill rate. They don't set the final one until the R.T.M. finishes their budget process at 22.2, which would be a 0.92 increase, or 4.3%, and it's still using the 4.5 million fund balance. And that's pretty much where we're at today.
Any questions regarding what was just presented? Okay, seeing none. We are moving on to public petition. This is the portion of the R.T.M. agenda where the R.T.M. welcomes comments from the public. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes. Submitted in written comments to the moderator or the clerk if possible. Presentation should be limited to matters pertaining to the town of Groton. The moderator or members through the moderator shall ask questions only in order to clarify the speaker's presentation. Responses may be given by the moderator and or by the town manager. Individuals should state their name and address for the record, please. I have 2 people signed up. First is Linda Costa.
Good evening. My name is Linda Costa. I live at 194 Pear Lane. I'm a 30-year resident of the town of Groton. Thank you all for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm here on behalf of Mystic and No Ink Library. I currently serve as the president of the Board of Trustees for the library. We are so fortunate in Groton that we have 3 libraries. They're geographically dispersed so that the different neighborhoods are able to visit a library. And they all serve slightly different purposes, or not purposes, missions, I guess. In the case of the Mystic and No Ink Library, some of the things we're most proud of, I would like to give you some statistics. At the current moment, we have 4,788 card holders. 60% of those are from the town of Groton. We will honor the library cards of either the Groton Public or the Bill Memorial Library if someone finds it more convenient to come into our library, or we have a program or service that they want to use. In 2022, we checked out 33,380 books. We had 78,000 visitors come through the door. We had 14,328 ebooks and audiobook downloads, and we ran 484 programs for children. Some of our children's programming that's we're particularly proud of is our summer reading program. And last year we started a new outreach where our programming for the summer reading program, we sent those flyers out to every school, every elementary school in the town of Groton to see if we could increase the number of children that came and enjoyed the programming. Some of our programming, which is a little bit different, is at some point in the summer, we'll run a petting zoo at the library. We also have bilingual story time and family yoga. And these are just a couple of examples of the really unique and wonderful programs that the library does for children and families in the town of Groton. So far in 2023, in the first quarter, we're right on track with almost 9,000 books checked out, 18,000 visitors coming through our door, just shy of 4,000 ebooks and audiobooks downloaded, and 154 programs for the children. Mystic and Noack Library is in a very old, very historic, very beautiful building. It was built and opened in 1893. We're on the National Historic Register. It's about 15,000 square feet, and our lot size is just over 2 acres. Mystic Noack Library is an association library, so we have to take care of all of the maintenance for our building and for our parking lot and for our grounds. And so currently, one of the things that we're working on is improving our accessibility for everybody who's got any kind of impairment, whether it's permanent or temporary, to allow them greater access to the library. I believe firmly that libraries are the lifeblood of all communities, and I just want to restate how fortunate that I believe we are here in the town of Groton to have access to 3 fabulous libraries, all of which are just gems. Thank you again for letting me speak.
Thank you. And Mr. Butler. You're up. Mr. Butler? You could please state your name and address for the record.
Sherman Butler, Noack Road. My family came to Groton in 1946, and some of you know there was a little schoolhouse right next to Mystic Market West. I went to that school in 1948. That little building served as a schoolhouse for the town of Groton for 106 years. Let's hope that the current buildings can do half as well. But in any event, I just wanted to make a few quick comments about I, as one patron of both the Groton Public Library and the Mystic Noack Library. My line of work is a little odd. I'm a federal labor arbitrator, and because of COVID and other circumstances, I've had to hear quite a few of my cases with parties around the entire United States while sitting at a computer, that library over there or Groton Public Library. But the one particular comment I'd like to make is this. I'm not very good at the use of computers, but the staffs at both of those libraries have been patient with me, showed me how to operate them, get me out of corners where I don't need to be, helped me to print briefs that are sent to me from others, which I appreciate. The fact that the computers are well maintained and they're functional for an illiterate like myself allows me to do my job. The other thing is this, and maybe a lot of people don't think about it. Both libraries have exceptional, broad, and well-maintained periodicals. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Barron's, The Economist, Fortune, and probably about 70 or 80 other publications. I know these are expensive. I see other people besides myself use them. I'm grateful that they're there, in particular The Economist, which I use in my labor arbitration work. But I find the quality of the resources, both print and electronic, the capability and cooperation of the staffs at both of those libraries, and the general atmosphere is nothing short of 5-star. So let me just say that the money that is invested by both the town and the private sector for those communities, I think is extraordinarily well spent, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for our guests tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Has anyone had any receipt of communications that they'd like to share? They'll let it go. Oh, good. I'm sorry.
This is Representative Cerf. I received a communication from David Evans in support of the Mystic Noack Library.
Thank you. Representative Gauthier.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. I received a communication from, I believe it's Sophie Luce, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It was a complaint about a alleged forced eviction happening at 99 Gold Star Highway, and a urge for, different representatives to sign the petition against the eviction process. So it looks like there's lawyers and such involved, and I can forward that on to the moderator and the clerk for the record.
Thank you. I feel like that's a little bit more appropriate for the regular meeting versus the budget meeting.
My apologies.
No worries. Thank you. I wanted to make everyone aware that you did receive an email from Mr. Butler also. Oh, it was a letter from Mr. Butler that came in that went through the town clerk. So you should have that in your email. Representative Kopp.
Yes, I received an email from Mary Engvall in support of the Mystic Noank Library.
Thank you. Representative Kane.
I received the same email. I received the same email from Ms.
Thank you.
Engvall.
Representative Gauthier.
Yes, so quick question. I received several communications on behalf of different accounts. My committee did. We read them at committee. Do I need to promulgate them here?
If you read them at committee, that should be good.
Okay, thank you.
At her committee meeting. Yep. Okay. Seeing no other. Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Moore. Okay.
If you're moving on, I'll.
No communication?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, we are moving on to the budget discussion. So we are here to discuss the 2023-276-2 setting R.T.M. annual meeting date, resolution setting the R.T.M. annual meeting date for the FYE 2024 town budget, whereas Section 9.3.1 of the Groton Town Charter requires that the Town Council determine the date of the annual budget meeting for the representative town meeting. Now therefore be it resolved that the annual budget meeting of the representative town meeting be on Monday, May 1st, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Thrive 55 Plus Living Center, 102 Newtown Road, Groton, Connecticut. So we are now officially in our meeting. Representative Amboise.
Madam Moderator, thank you. I'd like to make a motion for the Town of Groton's appropriation for fiscal year 2024. The number that I'd like to put on the floor is $172,826,150.
Second. One more time. 172,826,150.
826,150.
Okay, that motion was made by Representative Bois, seconded by Representative Massett. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, please. Thank you. This number is reflective of the deliberations except for, it is, of all the R.T.M. committees. Just as a little look back, the manager's number came in as $174,059,790. And again, I'm including general fund and all other funds in this number. The town council did deliberations. They made reductions of $1,037,040. That represents a 0.59% reduction. 0.59% reduction from the manager's number. And during the deliberations of the R.T.M. committees, they further reduced the number 196,600 to reflect the number that I've put on the floor. That is a 0.11% reduction from the number. So in total, what we have going on right now is a reduction from the manager's number of $1,233,640, which reflects a 0.71% reduction from the manager's number. If we've all looked at this spreadsheet here from the council's number to the committee, there's very few things that have changed. Just to highlight a few of them, human resources was decreased by the town committee, so I kept that in there. And also the debt service was reduced by $121,000 from the town council's number. Everything else is relatively the same. I watched the meetings, I'm sure, as well as everyone else here did, and I got my research and deliberation from that. to make this decision, to try to make this more efficient for all of us, to make it more efficient for the staff that have to come out on long hours, to come here and then communicate the information they've done twice already. And I presented this number initially, and if someone wants to make an amendment to that, specifically to one of the items that was changed by Human Resources or Debt Service, we can always make an amended motion from that. So that is the rationale, and I hope that I could get the support of this membership to make it an efficient, quick use of government time, which sometimes sounds a bit oxymoronic, but we figure I'd give it a shot anyway. So I appreciate the support. Thank you.
Okay, just for clarification, what this number is we are passing the entire budget all at once if we pass this number. We can put up to 2 amendments on at any time. Once we have 3 numbers on the board, we need to vote on the 3rd number, and we work our way backwards. But we can always have 3 numbers on the board. If we do not pass this, then we can move on to doing it line by line, just so everyone's aware of what this means. Representative Gauthier, you had your hand up first.
Yes, thank you. So this would mean that we are not able to speak individually on accounts. That bothers me, even though I am able to watch the committee meetings and have done so. Several of them occurred at the same time. I was not able to go and speak at them as I was some of them. I feel like this is a move more to decrease the democratic process. And moreover, when we put out to the public what nights we're going to be debating accounts, again, people are busy. They have lives and families and work. Passing this all in one go, I feel, is voting the RTM into irrelevancy since, like I said, not all of us are able to actively participate at committee meetings. So I really, really discourage folks from voting for this just because it's easier for us so we don't have to, spend as many meetings. I understand it's a lot of effort that goes into this by account staff, and it's greatly appreciated. However, it's part of the democratic process. Moving this all in one block, I think it's a great disservice to all of the folks who voted us in at the RTM and who we are supposed to serve, not doing our due diligence in allowing every district who's not able to actively participate when there's 3 meetings going on in a night to actually have a say and deliberate and learn new information, present new information that might not have been available at that given committee night. So I deeply discourage this vote. I don't mind breaking it down a little bit further if that's the feeling, but I deeply discourage this single block vote. It feels like a rubber stamp, which is just the way this entire body has been going. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gardner, you were next with your hand up. Sorry, I didn't.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I would say we're not circumventing the democratic process because we were elected to make these decisions. And if this body decides to vote on this number and pass this number, we've represented our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Thomas, you were next with your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. For the sake of brevity, I'll just say that my comments more or less align with Representative Gauthier's, and I feel like, a vote for this in a big block would, pretty much just declare the RTM to be irrelevant in this process. So we are a financial body, has been often stated repeatedly, a number of times. So if we abdicate our due diligence on the one area where most people agree that the RTM's authority holds, then I don't understand why there is even an RTM. And speaking as someone who worked on the Vote No campaign a few years ago, I find myself astounded at having to at this moment of where the RTM seems to be poised on the verge of voting to affirm its own irrelevance. So, if that's the will of the body, so be it. I'll have my vote, and we can all live with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'm also opposed to us voting in this way. There's certain aspects of the budget Board of Ed coming to mind in particular, where if we approve that number tonight, that is a permanent increase in their budget, which I think deserves some significant deliberation and something that we should keep in mind. But just in case it's the will of the body to vote this number, I'm going to put another number up,
Okay.
which represents a 5% reduction across the board of $164,184,843. $164,184,843. That's a 5% across the board reduction.
Gothier, second.
That motion is made by Representative Scott, seconded by Representative Gothier. Is there anybody else who'd like, Representative Surf?
Yes, I missed who made the initial motion.
The
Could you
initial,
tell me?
the initial motion was $172,826,150 by Representative Amboise, and it is for the entire budget.
Okay.
And that was the number that was passed by the, the R.T.M. committees.
Okay. Well, in principle, I agree with Representatives Gautier and Thomas that it would be more democratic and more responsible for the RTM to go over each budget and discuss each one of them. Unfortunately, I have found in the past that the RTM has a lot of trouble cutting individual items because all of them seem, necessary and or worthwhile and or whatever, but the RTM rarely cuts anything. So since I think the budget increase is too large this year, 4+% in a year when we have already last year we had this huge increase because of the reval, and in this year we've got increases because of inflation. I just think it's a punishingly large increase in the budget. This being said, I don't mind if we go through all of the items. I do think it's more responsible, but I wish we would get a little more fortitude and cut a few more things, because 4.5% or whatever, 4.4 is just.
One moment, please. Your point.
The number on the floor right now is an amended motion that's a 5% reduction from the initial budget, so I'm not sure what the representative is talking about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Representative Surf, the number that's on the floor right now is $164,184,843, which is a 5% decrease from the original number. Just so you're aware, I know you can't see that board. You are muted, or
No,
there you go.
in principle, I agree with making that kind of a cut. But in principle, I also agree with Representatives Gautier and Thomas that it's somewhat irresponsible for us as the RTM not to go through the individual budget. I would love if we ended up at the end of our deliberations with a similar decrease in the overall number. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Representative Aubry.
Good evening. I think that if I have great respect for the first thing that was put on the floor because of the person that put it on there, but not for what it's really saying. I think it would be a step towards eliminating the RTM if we were not to do our due diligence and debate these things as they are set up to be debated. And also, I would just want to mention that the Parks and Rec has not finished their meeting, so the number really isn't an acceptable number. So I'm just going to say I think we ought to do our job, and we need to get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Representative Casper.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I also believe, as tempting as it is to just vote on one number and we can all go home and say we finished our jobs, My feeling is we haven't really even started our jobs, and we should be doing our due diligence and going over and not rely on strictly the committees, because that's just a few. I think the majority is what counts in the RTM, and I'm interested to see everyone's views and to vote for each, do the line by line like we always do. Let's do our jobs, and as attractive as the two suggestions put forth are for our time, I think we just have to do our jobs, and whatever the time is, we'll do it.
Thank you.
So that's all.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Anyone else? Representative Evan.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I got to admit, I agree thoroughly with Representative Gauthier. I feel that this motion, both motions for that matter, trivialize the role of the RTM in this most important process that we're involved in as a body in this town government. And I think it erodes transparency with the public. They're not able to participate and view the deliberations over the course of each account being discussed. So for many reasons, those being the primary, I am opposed to both of these motions, and I will not be voting for either. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else before we vote? Okay, the first number that we are voting on is $164,184,843 for FYE 2024 budget. Let's do a roll call. This is the amended motion.
All right, so just yes, no, or abstention, please. Representative Adams?
Yes.
Amboise? No. Bailey?
Yes.
Burrell? No. Bright? No. Casper?
Representative Casper?
He's muted. Okay, I'll come back to him. Representative Cerf?
No.
Chase?
No.
Kopp?
No.
Dean Shinbrot?
No.
Eben? No. Frickman?
No.
Fritchie? No. Gardner?
Yes.
Gauthier?
No.
Gibbs?
No.
Hanscom?
No.
Caden? No. Massett?
No.
McElroy?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Aubrey?
No.
Powers K? No. Powers S?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarero?
No.
Thomas?
No.
V.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Wells?
No.
Whitney?
No.
Casper?
No.
That's 33. And Rusk?
No.
34. That's 30, there's 4 in favor, 34 opposed.
So that motion fails. So the new motion on the floor is, let me repeat that, $172,826,150. Yes, Representative Amboise.
Yeah, Madam Moderator, again, I support this number. There's been a couple of items addressed about the audience having a voice or democracy having its voice. The two people showed up and they wanted us to support that Bill Memorial Library, which we are doing by making this motion on the floor. Furthermore, we're basically cutting out 33% of what we've already seen twice. If you were watching the town council meeting, you saw the deliberations. For example, on a Saturday, they had about a 7-hour meeting. There was one council that spoke for 2 hours. And then they had at least an hour's worth of responses from those departments. I think we should know by now what it is that we're doing. R.T.M. committee only made a modest reduction from those numbers. And I mean, if I watched all the meetings, and regardless of if you showed up to speak or not, you could still watch the meeting online and see what was discussed in those meetings. I'm giving an option here to make government more efficient. It's not to make it easy. And just as a point of information to the moderator or clerk, a few years ago we did, or this body, I wasn't on it, did vote for an entire number. Is that correct?
It was all the numbers with the exception of CIPs, and I think it was 3 CIPs, is that correct?
So this is
3
akin
CIPs.
and similar to what has been a past practice within the last 3 years. So again, I'm just trying to follow some sort of logical consistency and try to make this job a bit more efficient and let the staff members who'd have to sit here for hours on end actually be able to work the jobs to make our town staff the best that they possibly be. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gauthier.
Yes, this is actually a point of clarification or a question. As Representative Obrey pointed out, her committee has not finalized their deliberations and their budget items. And so if our rules state that all of these accounts need to go through committee and committees have not finished their work, how are we not violating the rules of this body and the due process of this body by voting on a number, one inclusive of Representative Obrey's, Chair Obrey's committee,
You are very
without letting
correct.
her finish?
You are correct. We have not, Representative, the community, I'm sorry, recreation has not finished. Correct. You're right. Thank you. Representative Casper.
A point of information?
Representative Whitney.
Or I guess a point of order. Then don't we have to vote to suspend the rules to even consider this?
Yes. Okay. One more time.
Isn't this vote out of order then?
This vote, we would need to suspend the rules to move forward with this. You're correct.
Point of order?
Should have been done.
Representative Frickman.
It's sorry, more of a question, sorry. If we had made a motion to just leave out that one budget item, could we do that like we did with the CIPs 2 years ago?
Yes. So if we want to, if you would like to make an amended motion, sorry, I'll speak tonight, an amended motion to reduce the items that have not been reviewed, we could make a motion to pass all of them with the exception of those that have not been reviewed.
I'll make a motion to do so.
Okay, so we need to find a number. Hold on one second.
That's right, yes, everybody
So-
has it.
Do we have that number?
Everybody has it. So
It's minus
you have to,
287,966.
Can someone do the quick math?
no, you would say, take out 394,000, 394,000. It's Parks and Rec, CIPs.
Tell me one more time.
So what's the original? I'll give you the number.
172,826,150.
Oh, I have it. 172,826,150 minus 394, 1, 2, 3, equals, there's your number. 172,432,150. Is that correct? That's what we're subtracting? That's what we subtracted, the 394,000 of CIPs from Parks and Rec.
So Representative Frickman, this was your number. It was 172,432,150. Is that what you would like to move?
Yes, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by
That
Representative.
would be adopting the town council CIPs, not, this is town council's.
So we are reducing this amount.
Well, that's
For
town,
now.
that's town council.
Right, because we don't have another number.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So that motion has been, hold on, that motion has been made and seconded. If you would like to speak on that, Representative Casper was first.
Point of order.
What's your point of order, Representative Whitney?
I do not think this is an amendment to the earlier motion because it's no longer voting on the entire budget. I think this would be a new motion, but we have the other one still in play. So I think that would have to be withdrawn first. I'm not sure on that, but that's my feel of it right now.
I'm gonna.
Withdraw my second.
No, can you withdraw your first?
Do we gotta withdraw the second first?
No,
No, you
I
can.
withdraw my motion if she withdraws her second.
Right.
Okay, yes? Representative Massett, is that a yes?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the original number is being withdrawn due to
Improper.
the fact that we have not finalized all of our meetings.
They can't hear you.
Sorry, the original number has been withdrawn. So the number on the floor currently is $172,432,150, which is the entire budget with the exception of the Park and Rec CIPs, which will not be met on until Wednesday. So the first person to speak is Representative Casper. Or no, actually, Representative Frickman, do you want to speak to this number? This was your...
Yeah, thank you. Just, it'll be brief. I just wanted to, pretty much the same thing that was already stated, and I also believe that it's not minimizing our power as an RTM. We're actually empowering our membership on the committees who've already done this work. So I think it's a logical choice to do at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really want to speak to them.
I'm going to point of order again. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
Representative Whitney?
I'd like to get this right if we're doing it this way. The point of order is, so the other committees have met. Do we first have to vote to accept their minutes? And do their minutes first have to be submitted? I know that the votes have been registered, but I doubt I know all the committees have not submitted their minutes.
All the committees have
And I don't know
submitted
the
their
answer.
minutes, and they will be,
Except
with the
Parks and
exception of Parks and Rec and their CIPs, but everything else has been submitted.
No, that's not the case. I think the votes have been registered, but the minutes have not been.
Right,
from all
because-
Yeah,
committees.
point of order. My committee, my second committee meeting, I have not submitted minutes for.
Okay.
That is a fact.
Okay.
So let's just go right to the fact of parliamentary procedure, if you wouldn't mind, moderator. So the committees are supposed to send in their minutes within 7 days of their meetings, and because we have everything recorded, video recorded, statute hasn't caught up to technology. So FYI's requirement is minutes of any meeting, public meeting, must be submitted to the town clerk 7 days after the fact. The actual votes have to be recorded and available 48 hours after the fact. We had the votes, we have the minutes by virtue of the video, so I did not push and push and push to get everybody's minutes. So you can criticize me on that. I think that we're totally covered with our minutes.
Point of order. Point of order. It has been fewer than 7 days since my committee last met.
I'm
and
not
also just
speaking
because
to yours.
since technology hasn't caught up, I'm going to finish my point of order. Since technology hasn't caught up, that does
Representative
not mean-
Gauthier, you are attacking the clerk.
Yeah,
So just hold on.
I didn't pinpoint any particular chair of any particular committee to anyone. It's just, I'm telling you how the parliament, the procedure that by FOI, you could interpret it to be violated by those that have not turned in their minutes. I just believe that in a court of law, we would be fine.
I apologize for myself.
That's okay. So also, please, familiarize yourself, if you haven't already, you should, of what the duties of the RTM are. The RTM takes the place of the whole town coming out as a town meeting, like other towns do surrounding us. And that's for a whole host of things, including the budget. So, the budget is a large part of the RTM's responsibility, but there's a whole host of other things that are your responsibility. So this isn't just your responsibility. Look in the charter, there's 3.5 pages plus of duties. It's important that you are serious about the budget. There's no law that says you cannot vote a whole number at any given time during the entire time you're allotted from April 28th to March 25th. You have that much time to approve a budget, so you could make a motion to approve next week if you wanted to. So,
Representative Casper.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just wanted to address a statement that the last time we did, in fact, streamline the proceedings was when COVID had first arose and was rampant. Staff was not, everybody was working from home. I don't think we had finessed our communications yet. And because of those reasons, we agreed to speed the process. And to say we'll do that now because of that doesn't seem to be valid, or a valid argument. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And just want to thank Representative Casper for bringing up that point. That was something I was going to mention as well. And long story short, yeah, we all may have watched the meetings or may not have, or, you know, that's all regardless. We haven't actually spoken or engaged because, as Representative Gauthier identified, not everyone was able to make every single meeting. So it just seems like, you know, we're kind of contorting ourselves incredibly here to try to make this possibility of a vote happen, which I guess, you know, if we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Parliamentary wise, you know, we're on thin ice, in my opinion, but I sure wish we had an independent review board to get an opinion on that. But let's see, yeah, so we may have watched the meetings. Even if someone did watch all the meetings, all the committee stuff, all the town council stuff, we have not yet participated in the conversation. So there's a difference between a passive observer and an active participant. So, and you know, just in the process of conversation, new information is brought out, new insights are brought out. So, you know, again, I encourage everyone to vote against the lump sum, however, whatever form it takes, and let's do our jobs and get down to it. Yep, that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Representative Surf.
Yes. The more I hear about this, the more I'm opposed to it, because one of these things that Representative D'Amboise said, that these were the numbers that came out of the committees. So that means basically that as a body, the full body, we are relinquishing our responsibility to those committees. In other words, just a few people, and some of them have very few people, are making the decision for the entire body and for the entire town. I think that is absolutely wrong, now that I think about it. We must all address all the issues on every budget.
Thank you. Representative Surf, are you done?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm sorry. Representative Whitney.
Thank you. So can we, before we move forward, I still know the deal on the point of order. So I'm making comments here, but I'd like this checked into. Please, someone look at the current R.T.M. rules, because at least what I'm seeing, you know, committee reports. Each chair of a committee shall submit a report to the R.T.M. on each item referred to the committee. And it goes on to the content reports and the minutes, and then the presentation, it says a written copy of the committee report minutes. So that's not a video copy. That's in our own rules, as at least the version of rules I'm seeing. And I'm chair of the Education Committee. It has not been 7 days since we met. I've not submitted the minutes yet. So, and then my next question is, along with that, do we have to vote to accept those minutes? Maybe not, but don't we have to at least hear the report in the meeting, or have time to digest it somehow and that's not happened. So I'm not in support of voting this whole lump sum anyway. I wasn't when it happened 3 years ago, and I'm certainly not now. But I really do think we better make sure, like right now, as we're going through this, that we're following our own rules. And so I think it's worth a pause that someone besides me check that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm reading them right now. Each chair of the committee shall submit a report to the R.T.M. on each item referred to the committee for consideration, and on other items the committee initiates for consideration for the purpose of advising the R.T.M. to the recommendation action on such matters. The report shall include any information presenting to the committee that may assist the full R.T.M. in considering a question and shall be in accordance with Rule 6.4.1.1 and yada, 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 another 6.4.1.2. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through them really quickly. Can I see the
Written copies, report, no report, clerk, 7 days, 81 votes, 40 hours, that's what I was deciding. Clerk of the R.T.M. at the R.T.M. meeting, so that's like if there's not time. Like with chairman, he didn't have time to get it. That's what he's referring to right there. There's no, but he's right.
So the option here is to suspend the rules.
It's 2/3 vote.
It takes a 2/3 vote to move this forward.
Present, we have 20, 32, 33.
So we need a motion to suspend the rules and vote on this tonight.
Point of order.
To suspend the rules.
Point of order, we have a motion on the floor. It has to be withdrawn.
So,
The chair can rule it out of order and move on.
so if this motion is out of order, let's remove this motion. Who made the motion? Representative Frickman.
Oh, I said point of order, sorry.
Yes.
I just had a question.
Yes.
The word for the minutes, so I'm confused, because the way I read the minutes, it's advisory, it's not a requirement.
Where are you seeing this? Please.
Well,
give
you
me-
read it, you just read it when you were saying
That's what.
the purpose of the RTM minutes is to advise the full body of the
You have to
RTM.
wait. So a written copy of the committee reports minutes and a minority report shall be given to the clerk of the RTM within 7 days. Votes on such matter be available 48 hours. Committee report is presented to the RTM meeting sooner than the 7 days. Written report must be given.
But does that
not
really
say-
say,
It doesn't say that we have to have them.
that's what I thought.
It does not say we have to have them in order to make this vote, which is how we did it the last time also.
Right, that's what I thought, okay.
So, we are going to keep the number on the floor. We will vote on it. Representative Whitney had his hand up next, and then Representative Gardner.
You don't have to, it just says.
Oh, mine's still up. I'll take it down.
Okay. Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Can we vote?
You can move them, or we can just, if you
I
just
mean,
wait.
no matter
yes.
what number we put up there, the majority of this body is not going to vote for one single number. So
Right.
instead of wasting any more time,
Let's vote on the number. All right. Seeing no other hands up. The number on the floor is $172,432,150. We will do a roll call vote.
Okay. Representative Adams?
We are voting on this number. Representative Adams was.
No. Amboise?
Yes.
Bailey?
No.
Burrell? Bright?
No.
Casper?
No.
Surf?
Representative Surf, you're muted.
Yes, no.
Yes, no. Okay.
I'll take that as a no.
I'll take that as a no. Chase?
No.
Comp?
No.
Dean Shinbrot?
No.
Eben?
No.
Frickman?
Yep.
Fritchie? Gardner,
Yes.
Gauthier. Representative Gauthier, yes, no, abstention?
No.
Thank you. Gibbs?
No.
Hanscom?
No.
And Caden?
No.
Massett?
Yes.
Elroy? McElroy?
Yes.
Merritt?
Yes.
Norman?
Not here.
Oops. Aubrey?
No.
And Powers K? Powers S? And Scott?
Yeah.
Cimarero?
Yes.
Thomas?
No.
V.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
Yes.
Wells?
No.
Whitney?
No.
Rusk?
No.
It's 8 in favor, 24 opposed.
So that fails. So we are moving on
To finance.
to 1003, voter registration found on page 56.
Yeah.
It's really awful.
Just gonna get worse as it goes.
What were we using that worked so well?
We are count 1003, page 6.
Chairman, you're up.
Chairman.
Do you have your minutes? I have your minutes if you don't. Okay, you're just doing the counts that are tonight. Right. Just, right, you're doing the second bit.
Yep. We're doing the second new business, correct?
The second meeting.
Yep.
I do have them here, though. You need 'em. Do you want them?
No, I have them.
Okay, go ahead.
So we had a call to order at a meeting Thursday, April 27th, 2023 at 7 o'clock. Call to order was at 7:04. Representatives.
Can you talk really loudly?
Okay. Representatives Chase, Fritchie, Massett, Gardner, Scott, Powers were present. Norman was excused. Also present was Director Berry, Director Green, Director Morris, Registrar Venditti, and Town Clerk McCauser. We're skipping the new business. We're going to the R.T.M. Committee Review, FYE 2024 Proposed Budget. Voter Registration 103, page 56. Registrar Venditti was with us. Representative Chase, seconded by Gardner, moved $223,058. Our discussion questions on the cost of the increase in the budget, the reasons behind those costs. Registrar Venditti, Clerk McCauser explained the funding differences due to the COVID and the state funding of federal and local state funding. The payroll of the workers, the poll workers, supplies were provided for these elections and the cost differences. Chairman Powers called for a vote. $223,058. 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. It passed.
Make a motion?
Make a motion to accept this part of our minutes.
That number.
For
No, that number. We don't-
$223,058.
Second. So the motion was made then by Chair Powers, seconded by Representative Massett. This is the town manager's number, the requested number, and the council's number. Registrar of Voters Kristen Venditti is here if you have any questions. Representative Aubrey.
Do I need to stand up? Seeing as I didn't watch all the budget meetings, could you just tell me the reason for the increase in the personal services?
That increase is based on the fact that we do have presidential primary in this budget season.
which generally, because we're not sure if it's going to be a two-party primary at this point, so I usually budget for both. And having a two-party primary with the presidential, with all of the state mandates that we have to follow, has made an increase in what is necessary to run the election.
Is it the same amount of people, just more hours?
It's more people, but I also did increase their pay because since I've started, they have not gotten an increase. It was just $50 for the day. So instead of getting $250, including training, they're getting $300, including training. And that is for a 14 to 17 hour day plus 2 minimum hours of training.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on the number of $223,058. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, I'm going to ask everyone on Zoom to please lower their hand. Okay, anyone opposed to this number?
Raise your hand.
Please raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Please raise your hand.
You're just combing your hair.
Okay. Anyone abstaining? 31 is our number?
32.
So that passes 32 to 0 to 0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we are doing the town clerk's budget, which is on page 59.
Thank you.
Representative or Chair Powers?
Our second item was category 1005, the town clerk. It's found on page 59. Town clerk McCarzer was present. Motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Garter to move $352,714. The committee had no questions. Chairman Powers called for a vote. 6 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. So moved. $352,714.
So the motion was made by by Chair Powers, seconded by Representative Chase. This is the requested amount, the manager's amount, the town council approved amount. Any questions? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Kind of waiting on everybody online, if you can.
Lower your hands.
Okay. If you could please lower your hands online. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? So that passes 32 to 0 to 0. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The next item we have is 1013 Finance Administration on page 93.
I have 1012. We're going to finance.
Finance. I'm sorry, that
No,
Finance
it's
Administration.
okay, I got it.
Is it a typo? I have 1013 Finance Administration on page 93.
Isn't that the right number? Isn't that your copy? Yeah. 1, 2. You wrote 1, 2? Finance.
Uh, 1013 Finance Administration, page 93, and Director Morrison was with us. A motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Gardner, to move $1,720,091. The discussion was the administrative budgets, and the questions arose out of the staff office hours and the difficulty in hiring qualified employees for open positions. Certified deputy tax collector was discussed, frontline employees and entry levels. The office is closed 1 day a week. I think it's on Wednesday, I believe, and the staffing shortage has created some issues that need to be addressed, and that's pretty much what we talked about. I called the vote. The vote was for $1,720,091, 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. And at that time, Representative Scott was excused from voting. I so move $1,720,091.
Okay, the motion was made by Chair Powers, seconded by Representative Bright. Are there any questions? Finance Director Morrison is here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
A lot of people don't know you. Hello, my name is Dee Morrison. I am the Finance Director.
Can't hear you.
I've taken over as Finance Director since February. Previously, I was the Treasurer with the town and then the Deputy Finance Director. So I've been with the town since about 2017.
Are there any questions? Yes, Representative Chase.
Thank you. So you're short-staffed.
Yes.
So how come we're down 1 for FY24 then? And I wrote down in my notes that Deputy Tax Collector, Finance Assistant 1, and the other Finance Assistant 1 are not filled. So if you fill those, then you'll be at full staff and then you're good?
Yes, we have the Deputy Tax Collector open as well as 2 financial assistant ones in the tax office.
Okay, so once you fill them, your department's full staff and you're going to be good.
Yes, in the tax office, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we are voting on $1,720,091. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, if everybody online could please lower your hand. Is there anyone opposed? Please raise your hand. Anyone abstaining? Okay, that passes 32 to 0 to 0. I'll remember that number yet by the end of tonight. Okay, next up is 2120 Revaluation Fund found on page 97.
Uh, 2120 Reevaluation Fund, page 97. Director Morrison was present with us. A motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Massett to move $291,275. Representative Scott returned to our meeting for the discussions at that time. We talked about the mechanics of the fund, how it works. Is the fund yearly increments, not to be huge increases to equalize the overall reevaluation fund. Was pretty much explained very simply. We have different types of mapping that has to go on. The contractor costs were discussed, and Chairman Powers called for a vote. $291,275. 5 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention. Representative Gardner opposed.
This is the number that, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I so moved $291,275.
Second. Seconded by Massett. This is the number that was requested, the number by the town manager, and the number from the council and the committee. Any questions? Representative Cerf?
Yes, I have a question. I'd like to ask, when we do the revaluation, when we did it last year, it turned out that the property values had increased enormously since the previous reval. And the last time that happened, we had used a phased-in reval, which the state allows us to do.
Representative Cerf, is this a budgetary question or is this a policy question?
It is a budgetary question, because I was told by the manager that the reason the phase-in was not considered was because it was too much work. So I'm asking whether, would it be possible to add as part of the reval fund a consideration of phasing in the new property values, and to see if that's beneficial for the residents? Because
Madam
obviously it's
Moderator,
extra work.
Point of order.
Okay. What's your point?
My point is that we're talking about the current budget, and it actually is not within the purview of this body to make policy. And that
correct.
would be a policy.
I think the question, if I'm getting your question correctly, the question is, do you need more staff in order to do it the way that you are, am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay, so
That's my
Town
question.
Manager Burt had a response to that?
Well, the earlier statement, by the time it came up, we were just about, at the legal deadline for doing that, and there wasn't enough staff time at that short period. And at this point, you can't legally change it, of course, but.
But do we need more staff in the future?
We'd have to look at the time, but definitely not now.
Okay.
So.
And we are not able to add to the budget, so at this point, we can only subtract from the budget. Representative Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Well, the question's kind of moot now, given that last exchange. Yeah, never mind. I'll follow up with the town manager on my
Sounds
own.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd like to put another number on the floor.
Okay, go for it.
288,775.
288,275?
775.
775. Is there a second for that number? Second. Okay, Representative Scott. And can you speak to your number? Or would you like to speak to your number?
Well, seeing how we turned down the 172 million and everybody wants to go through line by line, we really need to come up with a lower number than that initial number put on the floor. So we need to start chipping away at this budget a little bit in each department to get the budget lower than it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody like to speak to this number? Representative Merritt.
We can't hear you.
I have a little bit of contention with Representative Gardner's rationale.
What is your concern?
I just don't understand the reason for the cut.
He is, excuse me if I'm speaking incorrectly, but I believe his rationale was that if we are going to go line by line, then we need to start cutting line by line. Am I correct?
That is correct, Madam
Okay.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
That's not what we're here for.
Okay. Would anybody else like to speak? Okay, seeing that, oh, I'm sorry, Representative Eben.
Sorry. Thank you, Madam Moderator. I just, in reference to this motion, I would just like to ask Ms. Morrison, is it? What that would mean in terms of the function of that account.
I think if we were to decrease the current year budget that we're requesting, as this fund is one that we try to fund incrementally, then at some point in the future, we might be asking for an additional amount to make up for that.
Can I just follow up on that? Because in the last year, it was at 215, so this is quite a jump. And then in 2022, it was 95,000. So it seems like it's escalating.
We had gotten some quotes for some legal fees as well as appraisal fees for what may occur for the next revaluation. The legal fees are more current. The revaluation fees would be what we're looking at for the 2026 valuation.
Doesn't the legal contestation, I thought that was in a different account. Why are there legal fees embedded in this account?
We actually budget for legal fees in this as well,
Okay.
pertaining to the revaluation.
I don't see that line item at all.
It's actually part of the professional and technical services. It's part of the overall amount. That includes legal fees, court support, the revaluation, appraisal fees.
Okay. Thank you. It'd probably be good to add that to the description because I don't see it in the description either.
I can note that for next year.
Representative Sir.
Yes, I agree that we have to start cutting this budget, and this would probably be a good place to cut because we're adding, but it's almost $1 million altogether, right, by the time we get to year 5. I also don't think the legal fees for this budget should be in this budget. Otherwise, the legal fees for every single budget should be included in those budgets. I don't understand why they've been put in there. So I would agree with the cut as has been suggested. I'd also like to know whether we go out and competitively bid for the consultants or the people who do the revaluation. I know there are several in the state. And do we competitively bid every year for that?
I don't think the process for the competitive bid is done annually. The consultants that we use, they are, it's a specialty consultant.
Would it be done with the 5-year mark, though? Anytime before the 5-year? Or you're in?
I could talk with the assessor and see if that has been done in the past and it's possible.
So we can look at it.
Some serious feedback. Representative Surf, do you have any more questions?
No, well, what about the fact that the legal fees are rolled in here and they're not rolled into anybody else's budget?
It's part of the same thing with reval. There's so much extensive work on one topic that they try to break it out over the years. That's how it's always been done, rather than, this million, you wait to year 5 and then you suddenly have to spend $1 million plus. So you try to break it up over the years, which is a better budgeting option. It smooths out the budget.
Well, I still think it's confusing for the rest of the budgets. I mean, you spend a lot on a lot of the other budgets, and somehow I guess your point is well taken. That's because you're splitting it out over a number of years.
Representative Gauthier had her hand up next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So my question is to build off of this revelation that there are legal fees built into this number. At my committee, you explained that part of the reason the town attorney fees were so high were because of the reval that was currently done. And that item, that account, included the reevaluation, legal fees, and so that's why it was probably so high. I understand that the reval work to spread it, budget it across 5 years, but the legal fees, you need to spread that across 5 years. Could you maybe describe if the legal fees are different, if there's overlap? Why are we separating legal fees in different accounts, or is this actually in fact a kind of duplication?
Oh, or for court support, because I know we have significant. Apparently, it's broken up into both, depending, it's more court support and general advice in yours, whereas some of the other assessing issues go through the other budget. Is more of a routine item.
Thank you.
Representative Casper.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I fail to see how cutting this 5% going to solve any problems when it's just an average of what is expected every 5 years. And, if you cut 5% now, 5% every year, you're going to make it up at the end because the actual expenses are you got to pay. So I think cutting this 5% is just being foolish. And of course, every time there's a revaluation, I can understand why there's an increase in legal fees, because that's what people do when they're unhappy with their assessments and don't get relief going through the boards. That's it.
Okay. Did you want to do the math, Representative Gardner, and correct that?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'm basically cutting $2,500 off the total, and they're looking for a 17.4% increase. Cutting $2,500 off of that I don't think that's a big deal at all.
Representative Scott, you had your hand up next.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'm going to propose a third number. The town manager's overall budget increase is over 4%, a little bit over 4%. So I'm going to make a number that's a 4% reduction of $279,624.
279.
624. 279,624.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who was the second? Representative Gardner. Oh, Representative Sir. Okay. Do you want to speak to your? I'm just.
I already spoke to it.
4% reduction. Okay. Representative Thomas, I believe, had his hand up first, and then Representative Evan.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Just a question for the Director Morrison, or the town manager. So the estimation of legal fees, like what, so you had two different classifications. You had like the assessment that was covered under the attorney's fees, and then you have this number that's wrapped into the revaluation fund.
Which would be more of the court challenges.
Yeah, the challenges, right. So when is that squared up on the books as far as like, has there been years where there's extra that's not spent? This is an estimate of like anticipated court battles, but what's the actual as far as, like where's the correction for that, and where does the money go?
It just goes back to the general fund.
Mm-hmm.
No, if after the 5 year, no, it would just go towards the next cycle, right? Right.
Fund balance.
And then some of our court cases,
Your microphone should be.
sorry. Some of our court cases though do go through our other one. Like
Correct.
bigger ones.
If there are any unspent funds at the end of the fiscal year, the fund balance is part of the recalculation. That's one of the pages that's in the book. So if there's an increase to the fund balance based on unspent funds, then that will adjust the remainder years estimate going forward.
And so if we, in theory, if we make this cut and some of the challenges actually exceeded the amount that was budgeted, then there would be a fourth quarter transfer or some other, like we draw from the fund balance to cover the difference?
Well, what you do is the final year you would fund the rest, anything you hadn't funded earlier. Though there is expenditure the year before. There are some expenditures prior to the fire. Yeah, and there's sort of a schedule where you have to hit a certain mark by a certain point. So it's not like you could actually wait and fund the whole thing in the final year because there are expenditures prior to that. And I know there's a tracking for that. And then just, is this more residential for the residential part for their, because stuff like commercial, the bigger commercial goes through the main legal fund?
Yeah, my understanding is.
Okay, so it sounds like it's more the smaller residential stuff that goes through this.
So long story short, I mean, if we make the cut and somehow, the expenses get up to the point where they're,
Can you, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Everybody
Getting
who's
a lot
not
of feedback
talking,
here.
please mute.
Yep, we got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, long story short, I mean, it's not like we're gonna run out of lawyers aren't gonna show up to answer the challenges. There is a safety net there, mechanism in place. So if we made this cut and actually exceeded the amount that we allotted for, there would be some recourse there, correct?
Oh, correct. We would have, the fund balance that we'd be able to utilize.
Right, okay. Very well then, thank you.
So by the 5th year, we would be foolish not to fund the full amount that year. So I don't think you're going to want to short it anyways. So at some point, it's pay now or pay later.
Representative Evans.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. So just to be clear, I have a few questions, but what percentage of this or what part of this number is legal fees, number one?
I don't have that information with me in front, but I could get that to you. I would say the majority of it is appraisal fees from the consultant and the aerial mapping for the GIS.
And so I thought I heard a little undercurrent that this might be residential, and I was curious about the arbitration that Pfizer reval had to go to, and I was wondering if those legal fees or arbitration costs were in here. No. So those are in a different account?
The main legal fund.
So if it were in here, I'm just curious, or whatever legal fees would be in here, would the ones that have already occurred already have been paid out of last year, or would something like that be paid out of the future year? I'm just kind of curious how you deal with those. If you're averaging something, you have no idea what your actual cost is going to be in a year. So do you pay for it? How do you pay for it?
So every month we'll get a legal bill from the
Yeah.
attorneys, and it has a matrix that's broken out by the different areas. It could be revaluation, it could be labor negotiations, and based on the breakout from the attorney, that's how we'll decide how to apply either to the revaluation fund or to the general fund based on the expenses.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that answers your
so
question.
So the lawyer codes it. I'm curious, like say if Pfizer, if all those arbitration costs had been paid, and they're obviously paid out of a different fund, but I'm just curious, are those types of costs already paid by the town?
Yeah, anything with the lawyers, it could take up to 2 months to get billed, but we pay as soon as we get them. Okay. So every month they put together something, it just lags by about a month after the end of the month.
So if you get a legal fee that's not included in here, would you go to contingency, or how would you fund it if we cut this?
I thought we were talking about the money that was going into the reval fund and not Pfizer arbitration or how legal bills are paid.
The legal bills are paid out of this account, so it makes sense to ask about how this account is paid.
The Pfizer stuff is not being paid out of this, correct?
No, but I'm just wondering how, if we had some kind of legal issue and we cut this account, right? And thank you so much for being interrupted constantly. I can barely keep my train of thought. Would we go to contingency to cover that? That's what I'm asking. How would it be covered if this is cut, is what I'm asking.
Probably look at the legal fund if there's any left. First. Probably the first thing we do is see if there's funds in the legal fund left. Like this year we wouldn't because we're about 200,000 over that you'll see coming up. But you'd look there, then you'd look at probably look at contingency fund.
So is this fund and this other legal account that we have, are they like kind of?
No, you'd still have to approve it, but if it's similar dollars, so we'd probably just, if there was room there, we'd probably look at it there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Representative Sir.
How many parties, be they residential or industrial business, how many challenge their appraisals to the point where you need legal work done on those cases? Approximately.
Is that covered under this account?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
This account, I'm asking about legal fees for revaluations, the people who question their revaluation.
I wouldn't have an exact number on that. It would depend on the value of the properties. The higher value properties, I believe, over, I think it's $1 million or $5 million, potentially would be ones that would go before the court. There's the assessment appeal process for individuals to apply if they don't agree with their assessments during the revaluation.
Yes, I know that there are a lot of filters for people who don't agree with their and they don't all require legal help, I imagine. So I'm asking, like, how many people push it to the point where you have to have legal help to resolve the problem?
I don't have that number in front of me right now, but I can look into that.
You can't even do a guesstimate?
She'll look into it. That was the answer.
Okay. Well, the point is, we're gonna vote today, but that's all right.
Okay, seeing no other hands raised, the number on the floor currently is 279,624. We will do a roll call vote.
Ready, we're good. So this number we're on is the last amendment?
279,624. Correct.
279,624. Representative Adams?
Yes.
Representative Amboise?
No.
Bailey?
Yes.
Burrell? No. Bright?
Yes.
Casper?
Representative Casper?
Okay.
No.
No, okay. Sir?
Yes.
Chase?
No.
Cobb?
No.
Dean Shinbrod?
No.
Evan? Yes. Crickman?
No.
Fritchie? Nick Gardner?
Yes.
Gothier?
Yes.
Gibbs?
Yes.
Hanscom?
Abstain.
Caden?
No.
Massett?
No.
McElroy?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Aubrey?
No.
Powers K?
No.
Powers S?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarero?
No.
I am Thomas?
Yes.
B.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Wells?
No.
Whitney?
No.
And Rusk.
No. So that fails 10 to 21 to 1. Seeing no hands raised, the next number on the floor is 288,775. We will do a roll call vote.
Okay. 288,775. All right, Adams?
Yes.
Amboise?
No.
Bailey?
Yes.
Burrell?
No.
Bright?
Yes.
Casper?
No.
Surf?
No.
Chase?
No.
Cobb?
No.
Dean Shinbrod?
No.
Evan?
Yes.
Crickman?
No.
Ritchie?
No.
Gardner?
Yes.
Gothier?
Yes.
Gibbs?
Yes.
Hanscom?
No.
Caden?
Yes.
Massett?
No.
McElroy?
No.
Merritt?
No.
Aubrey?
No.
K. Powers?
No.
S. Powers?
No.
Scott?
Yes.
Cimarero?
No.
Thomas?
Yes.
B.C. Williams?
No.
Watson?
No.
Wells?
No.
Whitney?
No.
And Rusk?
No. So that fails 10 to 22. Seeing no other hands raised, the number that we are voting on now is $291,275. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all those, please put your hands down. All those opposed? I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have Scott, Thomas, Gibbs, Bailey, Surf, Hanscom, Gauthier. So 7. If you could please put your hands down. Anyone abstaining? So that passes 25 to 7 to 0. I'm going to take a recess for 10 minutes. So if we could please meet back here at 8:50, please.
Recording stopped.
we are on to account 2060 Mumford Cove on page 185. Page 185.
2060, Mumford Coach, page 185. Director Morrison was present with us. A motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Massett, to move $21,320. Representative Scott was excused at this time from the vote.
Can you speak into the mic? Sorry, can't hear.
Can't hear? Can you hear now?
Has the recording started again? I didn't hear the message.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Just so everybody understands, the speaker over here feeds back into this microphone, and that's what you hear a lot of, okay? That's why I try not to speak loudly into the microphone. You're good? Is that better? Okay, it's better. Everybody happy now?
We're so glad she lives with you.
That's good too.
All right.
So at our committee, we had no questions for Director Morrison. So I call the vote, $21,320. 5 in favor, $21,321. 5 were in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstains. It passed. I so move $21,321.
Second.
Moved by Powers, seconded by Massett was the first one I heard. Do you have any questions? Seeing none. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, if those online could please lower your hands. All those opposed? All those abstaining? So that passes. Are we still at 32? 32 to 0 to 0. Thank you. Next up is 4010 Groton Sewer District on page 188.
Groton Sewer District, page 188. Director Morrison was present. Motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Massett to move $1,310,445. Committee had no questions. Chairman Powers called for a vote. $1,310,445. 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstention. It passed. I so move $1,310,445.
Second right. Second right. I'll take. Wow, this is gonna be fun tonight. Can't wait till the end of this. All right. So the number moved is $1,310,445, which is the number. That was everybody's number. Are there any questions for this number? All right. Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 If those online could please lower your hands. Representative Casper, thank you. Is anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, that passes 32 to 0 to 0. All right, next is 1076 Debt Services, page 200.
1070 Debt Services, page 200. Director Morrison was with us. Motion was made by Representative Chase, seconded by Representative Massett to move $11,398,722. But as Director Morrison explained to us as we were doing our process here, that the interest on the debt was reduced and that the new number would be $11,277,722. And we asked for a new motion. Representative Gardner put the motion forward. Representative Chase seconded it. $11,277,722. $722. And this function is strictly a bond debt service. And I'll allow Director Morrison to explain that further. Chairman Powers called a vote, 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions. That passed. I so move $11,277,722.
I've heard Adams, seconded by Adams. And everybody else. So we are on, I promised to bring my glasses next time. So this number is lower than the council or the manager and the requested number. Can you please speak to that?
So part of the payments that are included in this budget are for a short-term note. For the school construction project, we have a retainage portion that we will not be able to get until the states complete the audits on the 3 schools that have been placed in service. So for that portion that the state is retaining, we are annually issuing a short-term note. And the anticipated amount when the budget process was started, the amount that we received from our financial advisor on what our estimated interest amount would be came in lower when the note finalized actually on April 27th. So it was lower by $121,000. So I felt it was important to note that when we had the Finance Committee meeting.
Representative Sir.
Yes, I see on page 200 that we have some notes that are not for schools or roads. There's one that says general purpose. I didn't know that we issued bonds for general purpose things. Can you explain that, Manager Burt, please?
I wasn't involved, that was before my time. Looks like it was a refund, yeah. Well, general purpose, they're all general, like even the roads are general purpose. The 13 was a refund, so I don't know what that would have been about, but roads were done after that. So I think they're all basically, anything you do like roads or otherwise is general purpose. For main town operations type things.
I remember the big roads one that we did was specifically for roads. That's why I'm wondering about these others.
Yeah, it's still called general the roads maintenance and rehab, though, if you look on page 200, was called general purpose road maintenance and rehab. So it looks like town related, outside of the schools, looks like it's generally called general purpose.
Yeah, but there's one before that that doesn't say roads. Anyway, if you don't recall what it is.
It was before I arrived here.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of $11,277,722, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, if everyone online could please lower your hands. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? So that passes 32 to 0 to 0. The last item on our agenda tonight is item 1094, contingency on page 206.
Excuse me, didn't we lose a representative?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Didn't we lose one representative?
Yes, we did.
There's somebody at the bottom.
In the voting,
Was it? Was there no? Hanscom?
It's on the chat.
Hanscom still here?
Hanscom's here. I think you lost Hanscom.
Representative Gauthier,
Representative
left at
Gauthier.
856.
31 to 0 to 0. Thank you.
Very important, Madam Moderator, that if anyone in floor or online announce that they're leaving, just, what's going on, I gotta leave. Announce it, we can't see everything.
Thank you.
Which ones do we need, are we adjusting the votes for?
For 1076 and
2060 is okay?
2060, she was here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are on 1094, contingency on page 206.
So 1094 contingency, page 206, Director Morrison was with us. A motion was made by Chase, seconded by Gardner to move $300,000. The discussion was basically with Manager Burt. Gave an overview of the fund, how it relates to its use with other budgets. We do quarterly transfers at times. Any funds left at year's closing go to the general fund. In the past years, we used to fund it between $350,000 and $400,000. Last couple of budgets, we've made it through with $300,000. So Chairman Powers called for a vote, 5 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstained. It passed. I so move $300,000 for the contingency.
Seconded by Amboise. All right, any questions? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor of $300,000?
Aye.
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 Those online, if you are voting yes, could you please raise your hand or say aye?
Aye. Oh,
Okay. Representative V.C. Williams is the only one I don't have. Okay, thank you. If you can lower your hands, please. Anyone opposed? We have one, Representative Gardner. Anyone abstaining? So that passes 30 to 1 to 0. I will take a motion to recess.
Motion to recess.
Is there a second? So motion by Powers, seconded by Merritt. All in favor?
aye.
Time is, anyone opposed? Any abstentions? 9:03. Thank you all.
No, I put in.
Thank you, Districts 1 and 4 for bringing snacks.
Recording stopped.